At the beginning of lockdown, my mother got sick. On the 2nd of April, she was taken to hospital, and we were able to say goodbye to her. And then a few hours later, she passed away on the 7th of April. That was very hard. I'm the one who had to tell my dad and my sister that Mum wasn't here anymore, and my children, that we could only have 10 people at the funeral. Mum was cremated. Her funeral day, we were all had to wear colour. It was very short and sweet. It wasn't a full Catholic mass as we would have normally had. There was no one there apart from us, in immediate family, which was very difficult for everyone concerned because we couldn't hug each other. My dad was devastated that he couldn't hug his grandchildren and comfort them. And it was hard for me to see my dad in that way as well, because it's not something you see every day, a grown man sort of feeling lost. The day before the funeral was my dad's 80th birthday. Mum had been planning what she wanted to cook, what she wanted to make for him, what she wanted to do for him. And all that was in her head, so we are never going to know.
When I was younger, I've always thought about having a big fat Indian wedding. As a girl, you picture your wedding day and you think, like, this is how it's going to be. Went on a trip to India with my parents, and we had 10 days in India to basically blitz out wedding shopping, getting loads of things. Sort of end of February we got back. That's when I felt, right, wedding countdown is on. About 6 weeks later maybe was when everything kind of turned upside down. It basically just got incredibly stressful. I think during the month of August, I basically probably had like a cry a day. Coming across the realisation that actually I wasn't going to have an Indian ceremony. I remember there was a time where it just really hit me, and it just made me feel really sad because Indian ceremony it's so meaningful. I wore a white jump dress with some gold heels. I wore some gold earrings that my grandma had given me. I did my own hair, and one of my friends did my makeup, which was amazing. We then incorporated some elements of the Indian ceremony into the church, which was really nice. So my mum read out a prayer in Sanskrit and a letter from my grandparents, which was really lovely. We bought this Mangal Sutra when I was in India as well. And so in the church ceremony, there was a moment when my mum said, okay, now Andy's going to tie this around on Kamal. And so that was a nice thing to do in the wedding as well. And actually, like, the wedding that we ended up having was so, I kind of wish that we had it all along.
She was born at 3:37 in the morning, so it was a long night. It was magical, the day the baby came. It was the first time I went to the hospital after lockdown. It was also scary because I was going to give birth in the hospital that had the most coronavirus patients at the time as well. So we were just, the whole thing was, there's just a lot of thoughts that go through your head, like, is it okay, is it not okay? But I have to go because obviously the best care is in the hospital, so you have to weigh up pros and cons at the time. So my husband was allowed in for the delivery, and just the delivery, and then he had to go back home. And I ended up spending another 3 days in hospital all alone, which was a really tough time because you've never had a baby before, you don't know what you're doing, and you can't have any visitors or anyone that you know around you, and you're going through all these emotions. So I think that was the hardest 3 days of the whole thing. When we came home from hospital, for the first 2 weeks, we were self-isolating in case we had picked anything up from the hospital. So again, no visitors. Our parents really couldn't come see her. They could see her from a distance, but not very close. Which it's sad for her because she's missing out on interacting with people, and her development in that sense will be slower, I think. It was magical, you see her and you realise it's all been worth it.